The Battle of Kursk, a turning point in history. Ever heard of a battle so massive it involved thousands of tanks clashing in a fiery ballet of destruction? Welcome to the story of Kursk, where the fate of the Eastern Front and perhaps the entire Second World War hung in the balance. By 1943, the Eastern Front was a brutal meat grinder, consuming men and machines at an alarming rate. The German Wehrmacht, once seemingly unstoppable, had suffered a devastating defeat at Stalingrad. The Soviets, emboldened by their victory, were poised to strike back, eager to liberate their occupied territories. Both sides were battered, but the Soviets were slowly gaining momentum. The Germans, desperate to regain the initiative, devised Operation Citadel, a plan to encircle and destroy the Soviet forces in the Kursk salient, a bulge in the front lines. Maps will show the scale of the Eastern Front and the strategic importance of the Kursk salient. The German force assembled for Operation Citadel was formidable, boasting some of their newest and most powerful tanks, including the Panther and Tiger. These tanks were technological marvels, but they were also complex and prone to breakdowns. The Luftwaffe, the German Air Force, provided significant air support, attempting to clear the skies of Soviet aircraft and disrupt enemy supply lines. Stuka dive bombers were a terrifying sight, screaming down from the sky to deliver their deadly payloads. The German plan involved a pincer movement, with two armored columns converging on Kursk from the north and south. Animated diagrams will illustrate the German tank formations and the devastating power of the Stuka dive bombers. Unbeknownst to the Germans, the Soviets were well prepared for the attack, having anticipated their intentions. Soviet intelligence had uncovered the details of Operation Citadel, giving them valuable time to prepare their defenses. The Soviet defense was orchestrated by two brilliant commanders, Generals Georgy Zhukov and Alexander Vasilevsky. These men were masters of strategy and logistics, and they understood the importance of a layered defense. The Soviets constructed an elaborate network of fortifications, minefields, and anti-tank obstacles designed to slow down and channel the German advance. This layered defense was a gauntlet of death for the advancing German armor. The Soviet tank forces, including the ubiquitous T-34, were concentrated in key defensive sectors, ready to meet the German onslaught head-on. The T-34 was a reliable and effective tank, produced in large numbers. The ensuing combat was brutal and unrelenting, with intense tank-on-tank battles raging across the open steppes. The clash of steel and the roar of engines filled the air as the two sides fought for every inch of ground. The village of Prokhorovka became the site of the largest tank battle in history, a chaotic melee involving hundreds of tanks on both sides. This single engagement would become synonymous with the entire Battle of Kursk. Despite initial gains, the German offensive was ultimately blunted by the fierce Soviet resistance and the sheer scale of their defenses. The German tanks, while technologically superior, were often outnumbered and vulnerable to ambushes. The Soviet resilience, combined with their numerical superiority, proved to be too much for the Germans to overcome. The Soviet soldiers fought with incredible courage and determination, defending their homeland against the invaders. The Germans suffered heavy casualties, losing irreplaceable tanks and experienced soldiers. The loss of these resources would have a significant impact on their ability to continue the war on the Eastern Front. Operation Citadel ultimately failed to achieve its objectives, marking a significant turning point in the war. The failure of this offensive had far-reaching consequences for the German war effort. The Germans lost the initiative on the Eastern Front, never again able to mount a large-scale offensive against the Soviets. From this point forward, the Wehrmacht would be on the defensive, slowly being pushed back towards Germany. Compounding the German woes, the Allied invasion of Sicily forced them to divert resources from the Eastern Front, further weakening their position. The invasion of Sicily opened a new front in the war, stretching German resources even thinner. The Battle of Kursk was a decisive Soviet victory, marking the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany. The victory at Kursk paved the way for the Soviet offensive that would eventually lead to the capture of Berlin. Following Kursk, the Soviets launched a relentless push westward, liberating their occupied territories and driving the Germans back towards Berlin. The Soviet offensive was unstoppable, fueled by a desire for revenge and a determination to defeat the enemy. The battle shattered the myth of German invincibility, demonstrating that the Wehrmacht could be defeated. This victory boosted Soviet morale and inspired confidence in their ability to win the war. The courage, sacrifice, and strategic brilliance of the Soviet forces at Kursk played a crucial role in the Allied victory over Nazi Germany. Their contribution to the war effort should never be forgotten. Thank you for watching this episode of the Info Arena. We hope you found this exploration of the Battle of Kursk informative and engaging. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the Info Arena for more historical documentaries. Your support helps us create more content like this. And be sure to check out our upcoming documentary on the D-Day landings. We'll see you next time.